hard to look within yourself and try to figure out how you feel. It's probably like too soon to make this, but I feel like if I don't do it now, I'll probably never do it, or I'll do it like months later. And normally when you're upset, you create things that mean more to you, so it only makes sense that you do something when you're feeling these things. Second video in a row where I'm crying to the camera. This past weekend, it was one of the hardest weekends, and it came unexpected almost. It started off with me noticing my guinea pig was drinking too much water. She had spent a whole hour just rattling teeth to metal on her water bottle, and that's not normal for any guinea pig. Guinea pigs typically don't really drink water in large amounts in one sitting. They'll eat, they'll drink, they'll sleep, they'll eat, they'll drink, and they'll sleep. And her going at it for an hour was not normal, and it set off my something is wrong alarm. And I noticed also that she was losing weight. You could see and prominently feel her spine, and that's not normal either. And I had her for a while where I knew her normal body image, so that raised another red flag to me, and I was like, okay, this is definitely not normal. But way before I saw the weight loss was the first night that she did the whole hour straight of drinking water. And then that went to pass, and I didn't really notice anything. And then the next day it happened again, where she was drinking water and it was teeth to metal, and it was excessive. And then that's when I noticed the weight loss and how thin she had gotten. But she was eating, but she wasn't eating like she used to. She used to like clean the bottom of the cage of hay every day, and that's how I keep an eye on my guinea pigs. Like, I make sure that they completely finish their hay before I give them more hay, so I know that they're eating. And she would eat her hay and she would eat her pellets, but then as hours went on, like, it became less and less, and the excessive drinking of water led me to going online, and it underlying teeth problems and underlying kidney problems. So I was like, it's time to go to the vet. So we took her to the vet Saturday, which was February 16th. So we make a vet appointment. Luckily, we got to squeeze her in. They checked her teeth. They tried to look at her molars, but it's very hard to look at guinea pig molars because their mouth is so small and their tongue is always in the way. Her vitals sounded normal. Her heart rate was fine. Her lungs were normal. Her gut was normal. Her visual appearance was normal. There was no discharge anywhere. So the vet was like, okay, we'll do a blood test to make sure that her vitals are clear. That way we can perform molar grinding, which is like, okay, cool. They were also going to make sure that she could be sedated, that she could handle being sedated. So they were going to check everything that could possibly be wrong with her. But we wouldn't get the results until Monday. So we went Saturday, we would skip Sunday because Sunday they're closed, and then Monday we would have the results. I was like, okay, cool. They sent us home with some critical care, which is basically ground up food that you make into a slushy almost, and you hand feed it. So we got home, I hand fed her. She took it wonderfully. Like, I knew she was going to take it because usually guinea pigs really love critical care because of the smell and the taste. She took it, and then everything seemed fine. Later that night, I fed her again the critical care, and it seemed like she wasn't interested anymore. And I was like, okay, well, maybe she's full. Maybe she's like doesn't want it. So she then proceeded to eat hay and drink water. She was active. Everything seemed fine. Her weight seemed to be stable. We went to bed that night. Next morning, hand fed her. She took it. Noticed that she had gotten a bit thinner. But it wasn't significant. No change had happened. And then I fed her again. That was fine. And then I fed her again a couple hours later. I kind of forced it a bit more because it seemed like she wasn't interested again, so I forced it, but I know she hadn't eaten anything. I wanted her to get it in her system. It had been a couple hours since she'd eaten the critical care, and that instructed that we do 4 to 6 feedings a day. So I did that, and I followed all the instructions that the vet gave me. So nothing went like astray. They gave me the amount that she needed for her weight and the number of times that she had to eat that amount, and that amount they gave me was for a day. So I made a container full of what she would eat that day, and I would distribute it out 4 to 6 times a day. We went out, you know, did our stuff, because normally Sundays is like a going out day for us, or a family night day for us and the roommates. So us meaning myself and my girlfriend plus our roommates. That's us. It's a Sunday family day almost. So we did that, and then we finished everything by 10 p.m. The last time I had fed her was around 5. So 10 p.m. rolls back around. We finished everything with our family night. We came back into the room, and I was going to syringe feed her again before I showered for the next morning. I was going to go to work. This is Sunday. So I take her out, and I have this little mat, and I would put her on it. That's where I would usually feed her. And she just looked not like the same anymore. She had lost more weight. Her body seemed weaker. She looked more upset. And I had to force the food down through her mouth again, and she did take it, but most of it was falling out. So that just, you feel it when you know something's not wrong. Well, at least to myself, like, I can feel it, and then I feed energy off of others, so I felt her, like, distressed energy. So I said, either we wait till tomorrow when a regular vet opens, and we take her in and we wait for the results, or we take her to the emergency vet. So we ended up taking her to the emergency vet, and they looked at her again. All vitals were clear, heart rate was fine, lungs were fine, her gut was fine, her teeth looked fine, but she looked not fine. So vet said, okay, we'll give her fluids. So they injected a fluid, and it makes like a lump at the top of like her shoulder blades, like right in between her shoulder blades. And I was like, perfect, like that'll get her, you know, enough nutrients to last till morning. They gave her a pain injection, so whatever she was feeling shouldn't have bothered her, just to get her through that night. And by this time it was 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m. They sent us home. Vet said she was confident in sending us home. She was fine. Obviously there was something bugging her because of how she looked, but vitals looked fine. And then of course I had told them that they did a blood test and the results would come Monday. And so they sent us home. We got back home around midnight. I fed her again, her critical care, and then I put her in her cage, and I went to shower. And I was still debating, okay, should I go to work? Should I call out in the morning? Because I was supposed to go in at 6:30 in the morning, and it was midnight. By the time I finished showering, it was 12:30. So we were getting ready for bed, and then I noticed that she was running around the cage. She would spin around her house, her little igloo, and kind of like looking for where to go. I thought she was, I don't know, getting exercise. I'm not sure. And then like a couple minutes after that, I was already laying down and I heard her nails against her ceramic bowl. And I was like, okay, maybe she's like trying to eat pellets. And I saw her in her bowl, like all four paws were in her bowl, and her head was against the cage, the bottom of the cage. And that is a major sign of discomfort and not feeling well in all animals. When you see an animal put their head against a wall or the side of their cage or against something is definitely wrong. So I opened the cage and I talked to her, and then she scurried over to me, and I had to put my hand out where the entrance of the cage was, and she literally put her two paws on my hand. And that's when I took her out, and I was like, well, guess you're sleeping with me tonight because obviously you're not comfortable in your cage. And I felt like giving her that comfort of knowing I was there would ease the pain more, because I thought, okay, maybe the meds would take a little bit more time to, you know, ease it. And I was like, okay. So I took her out, I bundled her up in my blanket, and I positioned myself in a way where she was laying next to me, where my girlfriend wouldn't, you know, turn around and accidentally squish her, and I wouldn't squish her either. And at this point I was like, yeah, I ain't sleeping tonight. So I had decided right then and there, I'm gonna wake up at 5 in the morning and call out of work, because this was a family emergency to me. So all night I had my phone, and every couple minutes I would turn my flashlight on just to look at her to see how she was doing, and she didn't move anymore. Like, she felt, I guess, comforted, and she had started to relax. And then after about I want to say like an hour of laying down in the first position, I switched us over to where she was on top of my stomach, and I laid there for another 30 minutes until I finally moved my other side and put her on the bed, and I squished over more, so she had like a big gap about this big where she could lay down, and I could keep an eye on her. I was uncomfortable, but my main focus was to make her comfortable. And every so often I would turn my flashlight on my phone just to look at her to make sure she was fine. And this kept going. Set my alarm, and then I fell asleep, but I was in and out of sleep throughout the night. And then finally my alarm clock rang at 5 in the morning. I made my phone call. Luckily, one of my favorite managers answered, and he completely understood. He told me to take care of what I had to take care of, because I told him that it was a family emergency and I wouldn't be able to come in. So he's like, okay, do what you gotta do. You're all good. I was like, okay, cool. Checked on her again. She was still responsive. She would move when I touched her. Her eyes would open and close when I got near them. So I knew she was still hanging on. And then I I fell asleep again. And then I had a dream that I was, don't know where, but I know I was with someone, and they had pet rats, naked pet rats, and there was one in particular that looked just like a Scarlet. And I, in my dream, said, "That looks like Scarlet." And then I woke up because my girlfriend had gotten up to go to the bathroom and she came back. So that woke me up. And my first instinct was to look at Scarlet. Scarlet wasn't alive anymore. This is around like 6:30 in the morning. No, it was like 6:50, like a couple minutes before 7. So she had passed between 5:30 and 6:50, in between there somewhere. So we cleaned her up because she had diarrhea, and I cleaned her up and I put her in her carrier because we're gonna take her to our regular vet to set up cremation. And that was that. I called, they open at 7:30, so I called at 7:30. And they said, yeah, you can come in and we'll set it up, or you can go directly with the company they worked with. But we didn't feel like getting up then and there because we were still processing and still in shock. So we took a nap. We hugged each other and we cried. And then around 12, we finally got up and we took her and we got the process, and that was Monday. So yesterday, Monday, February 18th. We were at the vet, and luckily they remembered us from Saturday, and the receptionist also, she recognized us, of course, and she went to go look for our file, which was on the veterinarian's desk. So the vet was about to call us to tell us the diagnosis of the blood test, which showed liver failure. So something was eating at her liver, or was attacking her liver, and that just destroyed me because I've been through this before and it's not easy. Oh, she'll be getting cremated privately, and we'll be getting her ashes back, they said, within like 2-3 weeks. The funny part was, I didn't notice, but there was this, well, I noticed the lady, and when I opened the door to the vet, I smiled at her and I said hi. But until after we had left, my girlfriend goes, hey, did you realize who that was sitting there? And I was like, no, who wasn't? And she's like, that's one of the nurses that helped us at the emergency vet. And I just didn't recognize her. I guess because we only saw her for like a minute, and I'm not really good at faces. So at least now the emergency vet will know that Scarlet passed. And then Mondays are friendship days for my girlfriend and one of our roommates. So they went out and I stayed alone in my room and I was just sketching, and I came out with what the true purpose of this video was, because I haven't created art in a long time. I haven't really painted in a long time besides that last painting I did back in December when we had family night. But it turned out that my roommates now know. My roommates know what happened. But the funny thing is, and it goes hand in hand with the experience I had, my roommate, she went to bed right after we had ended family night and didn't realize that we had gone out to the emergency vet. Only her boyfriend knew. Her boyfriend knew, and the only reason why he knew was because I posted on Snapchat, and he looks at my Snapchat, and he knew, but she didn't know. So that night, she had a dream that Scarlet died, and I don't know what time, and I will eventually ask her what time, or around, sorry, I'll eventually ask her like around what time she thinks that she had that dream, because I want to see if it was during the same time I had mine. And like I said, she didn't know, and she woke up to finding out that Scarlet had passed, and she told my girlfriend that yesterday, and she hasn't told me. My girlfriend told me, and I would have liked her to tell me, because then I would have, you know, been mystified and realized, wow, we both had similar dream. Scarlet was almost 2 years old. I would have had her for 2 years on May 4th of this year. She was still pretty young. She was still a little baby. Because my oldest is 6 and she's still kicking, and I'm down to 2 guinea pigs now. I had 3 and I'm down to 2. It's a very sad reality. This morning I spent a good hour cleaning out the cage and cleaning the carrier and making sure that nothing really triggers our sadness, even though we have the feeling. But at least not looking at it will make it better a little. Not even. It'll ease it more. It'll not hit us harder. The only time it'll probably hit us is when we go in the garage and we see the cage. So, yeah. And for those who know, who know me, you know, my guinea pigs are my world, and they're what keep me happy. So losing one is like losing part of me. Especially one who I had as a little baby. I mean, not little, but she was a few months old when I got her. And oh, so I don't know how I'm gonna film the other one, but the next phase will be either painting, just painting, or the whole transferring onto canvas. I did 2. It's Scarlet and the other one is Sarah. I can show you this. This is Scarlet and this is Sarah. And they'll go on 2 separate canvases. So my girlfriend got me 2 little canvases. Surprisingly from Dollar Tree. Because we're on a budget, and honestly this is pretty cool. There's the sizes that I wanted. So they'll be going on this. I'm going to try to see how I'm going to transfer. I'm going to see if my light box will shine through it. And then my mom also wants a copy of them too, but I'm going to probably do those in Copic. Those I won't show. But yeah. So if you stuck this far, thanks for sticking through. Thanks for letting me cry to you. And if you've lost a pet recently, I am very sorry for your loss. I know what you're going through. And it's very tough, especially if you put your heart and soul and you know, love into somebody else. So it does hurt a lot. As far as, do I plan on getting another guinea pig? Absolutely not right now. Not this moment. Probably not anytime soon. Not intentionally anyway. Because I'm the kind of person who believes if an animal comes at your doorstep, then you're meant to, you know, you're meant to care for that animal. But I'm not gonna go out and seek another pet because it's not right. I know a lot of, well, I also believe in, you know, getting another animal because it'll ease the pain more. But it's a different situation where I'd rather just keep it at 2 right now, and then in the future, like, you know, grow the family again. I don't wanna make this portion of the video longer than it is. So yeah, enjoy the rest. Thanks for listening.